I'm going to show you exactly how I saved $50,000 in a year living in a high cost area, and I still traveled internationally multiple times. Not in the middle of nowhere, not with free rent, not making tech executive money. I live where everything is expensive. Rent is high, gas is high, food is high, everything is high. And I still saved over $50,000 in 12 months. And I still traveled to Europe for almost 4 weeks. I went to the Dominican Republic. I'm in New York. I went to Maryland twice. So if you think it's impossible where you live, this is going to challenge that. Most people underestimate how much control they actually have. I used to leak money constantly. Coffee, expensive nights out, subscriptions, impulse Amazon orders, lifestyle upgrades every time I made just a little bit more. Then one night I looked into my bank account and realized something. I work too hard to be financially behind. Not broke, behind. One slow month and I'd feel it. One unexpected expense and I'd feel it. I didn't want more stuff. I wanted control. So I stopped acting like a consumer and started acting like a builder. I didn't start extreme. I started stacking disciplined decisions. Bucket 1, micro wins. I started with slow resistance changes. Small leaks, easy wins. Because small decisions compound fast in a high-cost living area. If I bought a $6 coffee 4 times a week, that's over $1,200 a year. Impulse grocery deals. If it's not a staple I already buy and use, I don't care if it's on sale. Repairing instead of replacing. I sewed about $500 worth of clothing last year. I repaired a hair waxing machine, a blender, a lamp, a fan. That was another $200 saved and about 2 hours of work. In terms of subscriptions, I don't carry any premium subscriptions aside from the Spotify family plan, which is like $30 a year. Borrowing instead of buying. I borrowed jewelry from my mom for a party, glue from my dad when I was fixing equipment. There was just no reason to buy a full bottle for one use, and I only had to use like this much of it. Eating out. I only eat out if I'm with someone and or if it's something that I genuinely cannot make well. I cook great Italian food, so I don't pay restaurant prices for that. I created a strict no buy and low buy list. One of those things in those lists was unless something was essential or for work, I didn't buy any clothing last year. I even regifted presents. That alone saved me about $600. Stacked together, these micro changes saved me roughly about $5,000 a year. Each individual change wasn't really dramatic. All these small changes ended up being powerful altogether. Bucket number 2, lowering major expenses. This is where real money hides. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you cannot out-budget a lifestyle that is too expensive. So I optimized my fixed costs. Rent is about $750 a month. It is a tiny basement studio, and I share it with 2 cats and sometimes 2 dogs or 2 cats or a cat and a dog. But an average studio in my area is about $1,600. I chose small, and that saved me roughly $10,200 a year. My car is also paid off. I switched from full coverage insurance at about $250 a month to state minimum requirements at about $130 a month. I use Mint Mobile. It's $180 a year. The average cell phone plan is usually $140 a month. And Mint Mobile works in my basement. Verizon doesn't work in my basement. I didn't downgrade my life. I optimized it. I don't need a larger apartment. I just need less stuff. I don't need full coverage on my car because if my car was totaled tomorrow, I would be able to buy a new one outright in cash that day. The gap between income and lifestyle is where wealth is built. Lowering my fixed expenses saved me roughly about $13,320. Bucket 3, side hustles. I didn't just cut things out, I created more money for myself. And every extra dollar I made had a job. It didn't upgrade my lifestyle, it upgraded my net worth. When you live in a high-cost area, side income matters because cutting has a ceiling and earning does not. Here's what I did. Pet sitting, face painting, I sold things I didn't want on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, although I'm kind of shying away from that stuff. And I took every opportunity I could to make money. I even took last minute bookings, which I don't like doing. Even small amounts add up, even $10. And when you live in a high cost area, extra income accelerates everything. Every dollar I made via side hustle went into either investing or I put it into my high yield savings accounts, not lifestyle upgrades. Side hustles contributed roughly to about $20,000 last year. Let's stack everything we have so far. There was the micro wins for $5,000, major expenses for $13,320, the side hustles for $20,000. We're already deep into 5 figures and there's still one thing left. Bucket 4, the hard thing. After I mastered the small wins and optimized the big expenses, I realized there was one leak left, one that I've avoided for years: smoking and drinking. This may not apply to you, but smoking and drinking was a huge part of my life for about 20 years. I'm an all or nothing person and I couldn't cut back, so I quit. I'm actually embarrassed to say that I spent $700 a month on smoking and drinking. That's $8,400 a year. But this change wasn't just financial, it was identity. I was spending over $8,000 a year on something that was hurting my health and my wallet. I did, and I do feel a little embarrassed about this, but now I feel powerful because the solution wasn't external. It was me. I'm happier, less anxious, more clear mentally. My skin looks better. My hair is getting thicker. I don't know if you could see this, but this is new growth here, and it started ever since I stopped smoking and drinking. I don't think that that's a coincidence. Oh, and my wallet's fuller. That one decision alone could have funded part of my travel for last year. That's what pushed me over the 50,000 mark. I should say that I did start the smoking and drinking journey last year, probably even in January, but it took about a year for me to be comfortable and not smoke and drink at all. Bucket 5, making money work. Saving and earning is step 1. Multiplying is step 2. I invested, I collected dividends, I utilized high yield savings accounts, and I maxed out my IRA. This is not to be taken as financial advice. This is just what I do. Do your own due diligence when investing yourself. I invested in stocks like NLY and SAR. They give about a 13% dividend. I also invested in the S&P 500 and Vanguard ETFs like VU. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just what I personally do. My investments generate about $500 a month, and I generally reinvest most of it. You work. I feel like your money should too. Let me paint this clearly. I live in a high-cost area, and last year I spent almost 4 weeks in Europe. Different cities, different pace, sitting in cafes without financial anxiety, booking trains calmly, and being present. Then I went to the Dominican Republic. Ocean, sun, with no guilt attached to the bill. I went to Maryland twice to see some people that I love. None of it felt reckless. None of it felt irresponsible because it was getting funded. High cost of living did not stop me from traveling or doing the things I love, but careless spending would have. I didn't cut joy. I cut financial bleeding. And that funded everything that mattered. I saved over $50,000 a year living in a high cost area, not because I'm extreme, not because I make millions, not because I stopped living, because I stacked disciplined decisions. Some small, some strategic, one really hard, but all intentional. Start with the leaks, optimize the big expenses, create income, do the hard thing, and watch what happens when excuses disappear. If this video was helpful in any way, I would appreciate if you hit the like button. All right, bye.